March 25th, 1992. Pakistan beat England at Melbourne Cricket Ground to win their first ever Cricket World Cup.
Performance in front of 87,000 people. Imran Khan is...
At the twilight of my career, finally I managed to win the World Cup.
A day that was supposed to be cherished by generations to come, but it became a nightmare. Because of this one man, Imran Khan.
Part of nationwide protests calling for the release of the former Prime Minister Imran Khan.
Left dozens dead on both sides.
Has killed at least 12 people.
While the number of people coming in still keeps rising, the death toll too has been going up.
The call for this protest was issued by Imran Khan himself. He called it the final call.
Muslim women wearing hijab, it's become an issue.
The Parda came actually from the Christian Byzantine Empire.
Was there any emotional connection or was it just fun?
Every relationship is different.
Welcome to the Sleuthing Scams. And today we will be talking about how a cricketer scammed an entire country. It takes a lot of time, courage and heart to bring these videos for you, so kindly hit that subscribe button. Imran Khan wasn't just another cricketer. He was the cricketer, an all-rounder, a leader, and a certified heartthrob. He wasn't only the biggest name in cricket, he was a full-blown celebrity within Pakistan's elite circles. After winning the 1992 World Cup, his fame exploded beyond imagination. And maybe that's exactly why Nawaz Sharif, the most powerful name in Pakistani politics at the time, offered him a place in PMLN, along with 30 seats for his supporters. Khan rejected the offer without hesitation. On April 25th, 1996, he announced the formation of his own party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, PTI. He contested the National Assembly from 2 constituencies against PMLN, and that's when reality hit hard. Because popularity in sports and popularity at the ballot box are 2 very different things. He lost both seats, badly. Almost overnight, he faded from relevance. People started using his name as a punchline in political debates. From a global sports icon, he was reduced to occasional TV appearances, getting mocked and cursed by minor politicians. From backing a so-called liberal dictator like Pervez Musharraf, to flirting with the idea of Sharia-based laws, Imran Khan tried every possible route to reclaim the relevance he had lost. But nothing truly worked. At least not until 2008. At the time, Pakistan's political arena was firmly controlled by 2 parties, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, PMLN, and the Pakistan People's Party, PPP. And if you understand Pakistan, you also understand this one reality. Real power has always rested with the army and the establishment, shaping politics from behind the scenes. In 2008, when PPP and PMLN formed a coalition to push out army chief-turned-dictator Pervez Musharraf, something shifted. The old order began to crack. The snakes started lifting their heads out of the box. And that moment changed everything for Imran Khan. He was the new favourite boy of the establishment. Within months, he emerged from political obscurity and became the new face of Pakistani politics. He was everywhere, especially on social media. The word hope started circulating alongside his name across the internet. While PMLN and PPPP were still stuck in old-school politics, with little understanding of digital media, PTI was doing the opposite. Khan had some of the best digital media minds in the country, building his online presence, carefully shaping his image for a new generation. A man who had been politically irrelevant for nearly a decade suddenly became the most talked-about figure in the world's 5th most populated country. That's why, when he announced his first major rally, nearly 100,000 people showed up at Minari, Pakistan. He openly challenged government policies and famously declared that his movement was not a flood, but a tsunami. Another massive gathering followed in Karachi on December 25th, 2011, again drawing around 100,000 supporters.
So you're protecting Imran Khan against arrest?
For years, his political feats have been overshadowed by his huge cricketing successes.
For a country exhausted by the same families and faces ruling for decades, Imran Khan felt like a natural choice for Prime Minister. Who better than the man who had delivered Pakistan its first and only Cricket World Cup. He had charisma. He had brand value. He had legacy. And yet, despite all that support, he made a controversial move. He extended a hand to the Taliban, the very group responsible for the slaughter of innocent Pakistanis for years. The Taliban even offered him protection for his upcoming rallies. That's when he played his next card: anti-American rhetoric.
The way they exposed all these two-faced politicians, who were sucking up to the Americans.
A tried and tested shortcut for leaders seeking instant public support. On October 6th, he led a convoy of nearly 10,000 people to protest US drone strikes targeting militants.
Because no law allows anyone to become judge, jury and executioner.
Now, Taliban were fundamentalists, but they were not terrorists.
And on April the 21st, 2013, he officially launched his election campaign from Lahore, once again drawing massive crowds. He openly declared that he would pull Pakistan out of the US-led war on terror and promised to bring peace to the Pashtun tribal belt. In the 2013 elections, his party won the provincial government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the province bordering Afghanistan and the one hit hardest by terrorism. But once he entered the National Assembly, one thing became clear. Imran Khan had no intention of playing it safe, like PMLN or PPP, parties that had learned to survive by compromise. He wanted everything, and that refusal to settle would later haunt not just him, but the entire country. Including those who helped engineer his rise.
Hundreds have been arrested in the crackdown. Several people were killed and dozens wounded in earlier clashes.
From the very beginning, he claimed the elections were rigged in favour of PMLN. In 2013, he accused the United States of sabotaging peace talks by killing Pakistani Taliban leader Hakimullah Mehsud in a drone strike. Soon after, he announced plans for mass protest and even threatened to block NATO supply lines to Afghanistan. The intent was blunt. He showed little concern for economic fallout or for damaging relations with Pakistan's longtime ally and the world's sole superpower. Some questioned why, instead of governing Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, he seemed more focused on agitation and confrontation. But the hype around him, amplified by social media, drowned out nearly all criticism. His persona overshadowed everything else. On May 11, 2014, he demanded the resignation of the entire Election Commission of Pakistan, calling for a new body and punishment for those who had stolen the mandate. 3 months later, on August 14th, he marched from Lahore to Islamabad, demanding Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's resignation and a probe into alleged electoral fraud. That's when he played his most powerful card, one that would prove beneficial for him and disastrous for the country: the use of religion.
As I believe in God, as a Muslim, that life and death is in his hand.
And that civilization was based on the state of Medina.
For the next 700 years, all top scientists were Muslims. Wanted Pakistan to be what was called an Islamic welfare state.
And I hope that in the Muslim world, we will again go back to those basic principles.
This movement is not political. It is the duty of every Muslim to protect the honor of Islam.
For him, inshallah.
Why?
Because he is original leader of Islamic all over the world.
It's a familiar tactic among authoritarian leaders, but in Pakistan's increasingly conservative post-1970 society, it worked perfectly. Khan allied himself with Canadian-Pakistani cleric Tahir-ul-Qadri to mobilise supporters for a regime change movement.
This is absolutely lawful and democratic march.
What followed was a 126-day sit-in that paralysed the capital. The protest ended only after the Army Public School massacre in Peshawar, where 6 Taliban gunmen slaughtered schoolchildren in the very province Khan governed, while he remained locked in a political standoff in Islamabad. Later, former PTI President Javed Hashmi revealed that Khan had been guided by the military to coordinate the protests, accusing him of acting on a signal from outside, widely interpreted, including by the New York Times, as a reference to military backing. These were early signs of a much larger deception. Yet Khan's image remained untouchable. He blamed America for every national failure. He wrapped politics in religion, And for the rest, he achieved with jingoistic nationalism, where he stated that India, along with international establishment, are working to help PMLN win the election. And it worked. In 2018, against all expectations, Imran Khan won the general elections convincingly.
Imran Khan is set to be the next Prime Minister. He is scheduled to speak to the media.
The projections show a victory by the PTI party led by Imran Khan.
Nawaz Sharif quickly rejected the count, alleging blatant vote rigging.
On August 18, 2018, he was sworn in as Pakistan's 22nd Prime Minister, finally holding the power he had long sought. One of his first major campaigns was the Dam Fund, launched alongside Chief Justice Saqib Nisar to build Diama-Basha and Mohman dams. It raised nearly 20 billion rupees, largely from overseas Pakistanis. Not a single brick was laid. Key ministries were handed to inexperienced loyalists. Questions were raised, but they were drowned out by devotion. One rare merit-based appointment, economist Atif Mian, was reversed within days because he belonged to the Ahmadi community, one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. During COVID-19, while global leaders consulted scientists, Khan rejected lockdowns and turned instead to religious clerics like Maulana Tariq Jamil, who openly blamed the pandemic on women's clothing. Khan himself in past have stated that women are raped because of their clothes, and it's not the fault of the men who do it. By then, the cracks were impossible to ignore, but the damage had already been done. And slowly Khan began revealing his true colours. He didn't want to be just another Prime Minister who had once brought Pakistan a World Cup. He wanted to be an absolute ruler, a king. He stopped attending the National Assembly altogether and grew increasingly vocal in his support for the Taliban. He publicly referred to Osama bin Laden as a martyr rather than a terrorist. He criticised the European Union, and when the US withdrew from Afghanistan, he congratulated the Taliban, declaring that they had broken the chains of slavery. Khan promised a Riyasat-e-Medina, an Islamic utopia modelled after the city of Medina in early Islamic history. Yet while he relentlessly attacked previous governments for taking IMF loans, his own government ended up taking record loans from the IMF. The economy deteriorated, inflation surged, the currency collapsed, and unemployment worsened. Khan rose to power with the backing of the establishment, and once in office, he used that same power to crush political opponents. Opposition leaders were jailed on questionable charges. Political victimization became routine. But instead of strengthening this alliance, Khan made a fatal miscalculation. He turned on his benefactors. The warning signs had been there from the start. He openly praised how Turkish citizens had poured into the streets during political turmoil. His government aggressively promoted Islamic revolutionary dramas like Ertugrul, dubbing and broadcasting them nationwide. The goal was clear: to cultivate a mindset of religious nationalism and obedience. What Khan wanted wasn't democracy, it was absolute authority, something resembling the monarchies of the Middle East. And to achieve that, he built a cult following. His most powerful weapon wasn't policy or governance, it was religion. During his tenure, extremist groups like TLP operated freely. The lynching of Priyantha Kumara, a Sri Lankan factory worker falsely accused of blasphemy after tearing a poster, became a chilling symbol of the era. He was lynched by a mob of thousands. Blasphemy cases surged under Khan's rule. In Pakistan, even an accusation can carry the death penalty. Khan, once seen as a hope by secular Pakistanis, not only failed to reform these laws, he defended them and politically empowered the extremist forces that weaponized them. The results were devastating. Inflation skyrocketed, foreign companies exited the country, and Pakistan's international standing collapsed due to open sympathy toward the Taliban. Some PTI leaders even suggested resettling Taliban fighters inside Pakistan. Pakistani rupee came to record low, and because of the power outrage, the GDP fell around 4%. The textile sector that the country is most proud of suffered a loss of $70 million. And Khan also didn't bother about the Forex reserves, who came down to $3 billion only. But the decision that sealed Khan's fate was his confrontation with the very establishment that brought him to power. On March 8, 2022, opposition parties led by PMLN filed a no-confidence motion against him, citing economic mismanagement, rising debt, a falling currency, and foreign policy failures. 2 days later, Khan ordered police raids on parliament lodges. Opposition workers were beaten, injured, and arrested. Confident, Khan turned to the army, expecting the same backing as before. Instead, he received a shock. The military announced it would remain neutral. Khan lashed out, declaring, "Only animals remain neutral." The message was unmistakable. Unlike other politicians, he would not submit. By this point, years of revolutionary rhetoric had radicalised his supporters. When Khan was shot in the foot during a rally, he immediately accused the army and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. He even publicly named an intelligence officer, calling him Dirty Harry. The establishment dismissed the claims as baseless, but neither Khan nor his followers cared.
An anti-government protest in Pakistan has turned deadly.
It also says supporters of Khan used rocks, Molotov cocktails.
Former cricket hero has pledged to shut down several Pakistani cities.
Ironically, this was the same Khan who had appointed retired army officers to key civilian positions. By March 18th, defectors from his own party and coalition partners had stripped him of his parliamentary majority. One defector, Raja Riaz, said Khan refused to address severe gas shortages in his constituency. As dissidents stayed at Sindh House, the information minister accused them of horse trading. That accusation ignited the cult. Thousands of PTI supporters stormed Sindh House, scaling walls and vandalising property. Khan failed to win back the rebels. Everything was slipping away, so he played his final card. On March 27th, he waved a mysterious cipher at a rally, alleging a US-backed conspiracy to remove him. He claimed the opposition was acting on foreign instructions. On April 3rd, the no-confidence vote was scheduled. Khan skipped the National Assembly. The Deputy Speaker dismissed the motion, citing the alleged foreign interference. Khan advised the President to dissolve Parliament, and President Arif Alvi complied. But democracy pushed back. The Supreme Court took suo moto notice. A 5-judge bench ruled the dismissal unconstitutional. On April 9, 2022, Imran Khan lost the vote of no confidence, becoming the first Pakistani Prime Minister to be removed this way. For a brief moment, Pakistan witnessed something rare: judicial independence and political neutrality from the establishment. Then accountability began. NAB reopened investigations into corruption during Khan's tenure. In August 2022, PMLN filed the Tosha Khana case, accusing Khan of concealing and selling state gifts worth billions without declaring them for tax purposes. Khan and his supporters responded with chaos, road blockades, arson, and riots. Entire cities were paralysed. Violence became the default response to accountability. Khan behaved like a modern-day Jim Jones, either absolute obedience or destruction. Then came the Al-Qadiyya Trust case, one of Pakistan's biggest scandals. To understand it, one must understand Bushra Bibi, Khan's third wife. A mystic spiritual figure, often described as a modern Rasputin, she exerted enormous influence over him. Khan became her devotee before marrying her. On May 9th, Khan was arrested by NAB at the Islamabad High Court. The case alleged that Khan and Bushra Bibi received land worth billions from Malik Riaz in exchange for a deal that caused the national treasury a loss of 50 billion rupees. Funds recovered by the UK's National Crime Agency were diverted to pay Malik Riaz's fines. The couple, as sole trustees of the Al-Qadiyya Trust, benefited directly. It was a clear quid pro quo. Khan had ignored multiple NAB summons. His arrest triggered the most violent unrest Pakistan had seen since independence. PTI supporters attacked military installations, government buildings, and public property. Even the house of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was vandalised. Petrol bombs were thrown at the Prime Minister's residence. Just for context, Khan allegedly is a heavy user of drugs as revealed by her second wife in her autobiography. It was clear Khan wanted a civil war. For the first time, civilians openly attacked the military. The army declared May 9th a dark chapter in Pakistan's history. The chaos pushed inflation to record highs. Terrorism returned. Border guards were killed. Dozens died in mosque attacks. The ghost Pakistan had barely escaped came roaring back. The chaos caused massive power outrage, resulting in load shedding throughout the country. And because of the unrest, the economy suffered badly. The petrol price reached record high, and waiting quietly in the background was an old adversary. General Asim Munir, the same officer Khan had removed while he was investigating corruption during Khan's rule, was appointed the new army chief. And this time there would be no turning back. Imran Khan had a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Backed by public trust, moral rhetoric, and unprecedented popular support, he could have challenged the entrenched dominance of Pakistan's establishment and set a new democratic precedent. Instead, he chose the easier path, one that benefited him personally. Rather than dismantling the system, he learned to operate it, profit from it, and weaponize it against his opponents. The establishment was not weakened, it was temporarily rented. When that support was withdrawn, Khan didn't leave behind stronger institutions or a healthier political culture. He left behind polarization, paranoia, and a deeply radicalized support base. Religion, once again, was used not to unify, but to mobilize rage. Extremist groups were normalized, blasphemy laws were defended, and intolerance became political currency. The damage wasn't just economic or diplomatic, it was psychological, embedding fear and absolutism into public life. Pakistan's long-standing allies were alienated through reckless rhetoric and ideological posturing, while global credibility eroded. Foreign investors fled, trust collapsed, and isolation deepened. The Imran Khan chapter is effectively closed, but its consequences will linger for years. Nations recover from bad governments. They struggle far longer to recover from broken institutions, radicalized minds, and a politics built on faith-driven fury. Pakistan is now left to clean up not just a failed tenure, but a dangerous legacy. We're always open to your opinion and suggestions, so kindly leave them in the comments section. Subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon